I cared for my mom, my only living relative, for the last 6 years of her life. The last year and a half was 24-hour care. I'm not a nurse myself, but I was trained to use the medical equipment she needed. Watching her fade away just destroyed me. Her voice was so weak. I spent every day and night in a chair by her bed, so I'd know if she needed anything. While sitting, I often missed going into the wild for camping or kayaking down the river. I found myself alone and mentally lost after she passed away. I'd lost almost half my body weight in the last 6 months due to stress, and when she passed away, I was only 86 pounds and weak as a kitten, totally exhausted. A month later, I tried to pick myself back up and try doing one of the things I sat missing and daydreaming about for so long. I thought I wanted to go camping like old times, but just the thought of rounding up all that gear was exhausting, so I decided to just go for a nature walk instead. I thought just being in the great outdoors would perk me up. I packed a granola bar and single-serving cup of fruit cocktail to take with me, because everything tastes better in the outdoors, and my appetite had been gone for months now, and bottles of water to carry as well. The trailhead was just behind my house, but I drove to save some strength for the trail. I parked at the edge of the road, and knowing it was not wise to carry food on the trail, I ate in the truck instead. I also didn't have strength to carry more than the minimum necessities: water, cell phone, and bear spray. There are black bears, coyotes, mountain sheep, bobcats, and mountain lions, just to name a few wild animals common to the area. People have even reported Bigfoot sightings. I waited months for this opportunity and wanted to enjoy it, but also reflect on the last few months and renew my zest for life. I started walking, noting the plants, rocks, and singing birds. I was weak and unsteady on the steep trail, hoping to find a walking stick. I climbed down the ravine that sometimes has a stream flowing, but this time it was dry, so I started to climb up the other side. I knew my energy level was nearly used up when I tried pulling myself up the large boulders. I had gone farther than expected and was pleased with the distance, about 1 mile. Walking back down, I realized just how tired I was and sat on a tall, flat rock to rest. I was still too far to see my truck around the bend. I appreciated the nature for a few minutes and climbed down from the rock to get back on the trail. I continued down the trail, thinking I'd do this again soon. Maybe make this trek a part of my self-guided physical therapy routine. I recognized this couple of hours outside as the first peace I'd felt in many months. No pressure to hurry. The event I feared most had already happened, and now I had to figure out how to put my life back together. Lost in thought, I walked along the trail. I never saw or heard it coming. At first, I thought a man was attacking me. The weight slammed me to the ground face first. My phone was in my hand because I had been taking pictures, so I instinctively tried to smash him in the face, but I couldn't turn over because I was pinned down with one arm under me. My phone made contact. I felt a solid thump, and the grunt I heard was no man. My phone was no longer in my hand either. I assumed it must have been a bear. It took a few tries to pull the canister of bear spray from my belt, and it was hard to think clearly. I was consumed by fear. I attempted to press the button, but the safety guard was still on, preventing it from spraying. I had to hit and scrape it on the ground to get the guard off, and I only had one hand to work with. The animal was stronger than I was. I reached up and sprayed us both. Immediately it let go and ran off into the brush, but I caught a glimpse of a mountain lion. My eyes were full of dirt and burning with bear spray. I couldn't catch my breath. I thought I might suffocate. I saw my phone and tried to call 911. No service, and the screen was cracked and broken. I got up and staggered down the hill, disoriented and stunned. I wanted to run, but common sense told me it might return to chase me, or another one might pounce out of nowhere. I could see my truck and walked as fast as I could, but every time I fell down, I feared being pounced on again. If I screamed, no one would be around to hear. I had to get myself out of there and to the nearest hospital. I finally reached the safety of my truck. I was shaking so badly, I struggled to unlock the door, but once I was inside, I locked it and took several attempts to get the keys in the ignition. I bounced down the dirt road, and when I got to the highway, it was 42 miles to the hospital. I was driving badly, all over the road and speeding. The pain had just hit me. I pulled over in a tiny town near where I lived, afraid I'd pass out on the road before reaching my destination. Panic, fear, pain, blood loss, I don't know, but I was fading in and out. The town had a small clinic, so I went there. I tried to be nonchalant and asked if they accept walk-ins, not realizing I was covered in dirt and blood, my clothes torn open, and I was about to barf. I couldn't grasp the reaction of the staff and waiting patients. I was trying to be quiet and mellow, while everyone around me was suddenly freaking out. I was immediately taken to a room, where I thought they'd patch me up and send me home quick with just a bill. The sheriff was called immediately. So were the Department of Wildlife Resources, the Department of Fish and Game, and the main hospital. My clothes were taken from me and bagged. I was photographed by each agency before any treatment was allowed. I made a wisecrack that I really must be a nude model by now, but no one laughed. I was glad someone approved that the wounds could finally be cleaned, and a bowl of soapy water was left near me, but they had to step outside of the room again for another powwow. I started cleaning myself up, and I was shocked at what I was seeing. I could hear their entire conversation, as they thought out of sight, out of earshot, but the statement that got me was, "This is worse than the father and son from 2 weeks ago." They also agreed it was a bigger cat because of the distance of the claw marks. I was basically triaged at the clinic and then taken to the hospital. It was discovered in a CAT scan that there was even more damage internally than externally. I had 2 intestinal hernias, left and right sides, as well as entangled and folded intestines, also a bruised liver, external scratches, scrapes and bruises. The cuts were stitched. The bites had DNA samples taken. I was in a world of pain, and then the staff wanted to give me rabies shots. I heard those are extremely painful, and I was at my pain limit. I politely declined. They tried convincing me. I protested. They got nasty with me. I threw a fit. No more pain. I just want to go home. Well, going home wouldn't be that simple. I had no clothes, so the staff found some for me. I was requested not to talk to the media. Bad for tourism. I wanted nothing to do with them, but it didn't help that one of the clinic workers pounced on her Facebook and announced the incident. HIPAA, anyone? I had no vehicle, so the wildlife resources officer drove me, but not without returning to the location where the attack happened. He was obsessed with finding the hat I was wearing and for me to show him where I had walked. I refused to get out of his vehicle. He assured me he was armed and I'd be safe, but no, not going out there. He walked around for a few minutes while I waited. I was flooded with all the thoughts and feelings that there wasn't time to process as it happened. I was flooded with terrible emotions. The officer came back saying something about not finding the hat, and I responded with anger. He probably has it hanging on his cave wall like humans do with their heads. I was reaching my breaking point. I protested the hunters with their dogs, begging them not to kill the cat. It was my fault for being in his territory. During the investigation, it was pointed out to me that I may have come too close to a mother and her babies, or a stashed fresh kill. I had cat hair on my clothes because I have cats at home, so the smell may have attracted it as well. I was being quiet. Hikers should be noisy to ward off predators. I'm a small person, good for a quick snack. People had to pretend to be bigger than they are to discourage predators. I was walking slowly. I should have walked faster as though I had a purpose, but never jog or run. My hat was red. I could have been mistaken for wounded prey. I was given 14 points that could have caused the attack. After 3 surgeries and lots of healing, I still go camping alone, but I drive an hour to the opposite direction to another forest. I intermittently am one of those annoying people who plays their music too loud for a couple of songs and always carry bear spray. That was 2.5 years ago. I'm up to 101 pounds, and better mentally and physically. I've come a long way in healing, and have more to go still. I'm no longer ashamed of the scars. The emo hair hides my face. A Lakota medicine man offered to use ceremonial pigment to permanently tattoo the long scratches down my arm, but I declined. All that shit, and it wasn't even Bigfoot. Learn from my mistakes, and stay safe when you go out hiking. I'll start out with a little backstory. I became medically disabled in the Army in 2015. I served the rest of my time creating a private security team called SE-146 while I was in the reserve component. My name is Delta. I reside in Arizona, and I'm getting ready to retire SE-146 operations, being that I'm starting a family next year. Fast forward to 2019. My partner, Guardian 06, and I were hiking the woods off the Rio Verde River in a recreation site. The park looked like it was a location from one of those cliché thrillers. Trees loomed over the pathways, nearly blocking out the moon, and vegetation so thick that light wouldn't pass through at all, let alone a person if they needed to hustle through for any reason. Let me be the first to tell you that there are many of those reasons to suddenly want to run off to the trail into the tree line. 06 and I were walking the trail at approximately 2 a.m. on a Monday. The air was crisp, and it felt good to have the occasional breeze in the fall. The trail winds only around 150 meters before ending, but it was our first time out there, and it seemed indefinite. As we rounded one of the long curves, we suddenly heard some loud movement within the trees. We quickly crouched down and went dead silent. Suddenly, my heart leapt through my skin as we heard what sounded like a woman in distress, screaming. We slowly encroached upon the sound and came to a parking lot. We scanned the asphalt and the trees, but it seemed no one was around. There were no vehicles, and we couldn't spot any movement either. We got in the car and left hurriedly towards the classic midnight snack joint Mickey D's. 6 months later, 06 and I were back on that same trail. This time, we came from the Screamer Trailhead, as we affectionately called it. As we finished up the trail, we noticed a gray Mustang drive up fast, and we quickly dove into the trees and started crawling underneath the canopy. 2 men got out and were speaking Spanish while they opened the trunk. To my astonishment, they grabbed a large black bag and hauled away what I can only describe as an adult human-sized cadaver into the Screamer Trail. We've been to that river dozens of times on operation. We've been shot at. We've heard tree knocks as if it were Sasquatch moving around. We've been hunted by mountain lions. A myriad of insane activity has gone on there, but the craziest thing is that we've hardly ever seen a police presence anywhere around. I'm talking 3 times from 2019 to 2021. Always remember, if you're going to hike the Rio Verde, prepare to get hunted. What is up, guys? Blue Spooky here. Thank you guys so much for watching, especially if you made it this far to the end of the video. If you guys liked the video, please be sure to like, share, comment, and subscribe if you feel so inclined. That sort of stuff really helps me out with the audience engagement and really helps my videos get out to a lot more people. So hopefully we can get to that 1 million one day. Help me out, guys. That'd be great. Once again, starting this week on the second channel, we're going to be doing some true crime stuff, probably twice a week if I feel in the mood for it, and feel like doing all the research required. Those will be on Wednesdays/Thursdays and Saturdays/Sundays probably. So look forward to that if you're interested. There's a link to my second channel in the description. The name is Mr. Blue Sky, so keep an eye out for that. If you guys feel like contacting me for any reason, links to all of my social media will be in the description below, including my Facebook, Twitter, and Gmail accounts. Send me a message on any of those, and I'll try to get back to you as quickly as possible. If you do decide to send in a story, please make sure that it has proper grammar, and try to include as much detail as possible so it's long enough for me to include in a video. Also, please be sure to include in the tagline what the name of the story is, if it has one, what type of story it is, if it has a theme, and how you would like to be credited in the description of the video the story appears in. If you guys are curious about the art used in this video, links to my artist, Alan, will be in the description below. He does a lot of horror art stuff, and he's really good at it. He also does commissions, so if you guys have any projects you want to work on or something, please be sure to check him out. He can probably get you something really good. As usual, links to the music used in the video will be in the description below in the order which it appears. I think that's pretty much all for now, guys, so thank you guys so much for watching, and I hope you guys have a great day.